Well, CM Punk kicked off Raw this week, hereby known as Mr. Screwjob. Also, hello my friends and welcome to Ups and Downs for Monday Night Raw, and here's what I need you to do today. Take this video and go share it with a friend, go share it with a family member, show it to your mum. She'll be like, I do not care about this wrestling stuff. I don't know why she's doing that with her hands, but maybe she just likes to be handsy. I don't know what we're talking about. Hit subscribe, let's go. Now, it did make sense for CM Punk to be the guy to kick off Raw because, of course, at the weekend, he has caused quite the stir, and social media can't stop talking about it. Now, before he did get into Drew McIntyre, he did want to address John Cena and said, hi, congratulations on your retirement, and hopefully we can go for one more round. I tell you this, in 2025, if we get CM Punk versus John Cena, I'm going to shave my head, because I had pretty much put that in the never say never category. He then just started laying into Drew, saying, man, once again, you bring all of this on yourself, and you're nothing but a Scottish keyboard warrior, which was a good line. And haven't you realized that the only reason you got these consequences is because you brought the actions to my house to begin with? Because all he really did was exploit Drew's weaknesses, and now look, he's got so inside Drew's head, you went and got yourself suspended, you stupid tamale. And all of this is true, but it also negates the fact that CM Punk has also kind of been responsible for all this, so they're both negative Nancys. Punk kind of laid that out too though, because he was like, listen, I also got fined at the price of $25,000, but because McIntyre can't shut up, he has been fined $50,000, and do you see him right now? No, he got banned from the show. The big thing he does want though is to have a proper match with Drew McIntyre when he said, hey, Adam Pearce, why don't you get your tush out here so we can make this happen? And Seth Rollins came out instead. And I was like, man, if that is Adam Pearce, well, something strange has happened. Now, this did make me laugh because Seth was mad at CM Punk, given what happened at Money in the Bank. I was like, Rollins, why did you wait so long? But yeah, he did say, well, look who it is. Some Punk, you do know your actions from Saturday night got involved with my business, because I should be the World Heavyweight Champion right now, and I'm not, because of you. Now, that also means he can never challenge for the World Heavyweight Championship as long as Damian Priest has it, because that is the stipulation. And we'll get to that later, when Punk was like, listen, I get it, I'm sorry, but he wasn't actually that sorry. That just wound everybody up even more. Now, what I really liked here is that Punk actually mentioned Seth Rollins' kid at one point, and Seth hated that, but he was doing this to prove a point. He was like, yeah, it's not nice when people get involved with your personal matters. Well, Drew, he stole my family bracelet, so while you may be pissed off at me, I'm pissed off at him, and now we're all running wild. Still, though, he did offer an apology and then take it back, which is like saying to somebody, are you hungry? And they say no. They said, well, what would you like to do instead? And they go, I want to go to McDonald's. It's like, man, it's frustrating being your friend. Seth then went pure Rollins and went in on this guy. He was like, well, surprise, surprise. Look who it is, the gaslighting narcissist who can't figure out that the world doesn't revolve around you. Shots fired. He also basically made many quips about what he may have done in the last place. You'll have to go and check this out. When he was like, I could break your arm, but I'm going to wait till you're clear, and then I'm going to break your arm. And that is the nicest, most aggressive threat ever. He was like, listen, I really want you to be 100%, so I can tear your limb off. He also called Punk the king of propaganda and the dumbest smart person, or the smartest dumb person he does know. And he was like, you may want to burn down other places. There it was, but you ain't gonna do that here. Not on my watch. And of course, how does this all tie in? Because once again, it comes back to consequences. CM Punk was talking about the consequences of Drew actions, and now Seth Rollins is going, well, 2 + 2 = 4, and now you got to answer to me. So as everyone, these two do get together, it's just absolute fireworks. If you walked in here right now and said, Simon, I think they hate each other, firstly, I'd be like, why is Elmo here? And secondly, I kind of believe it too, and even if they do, that rhymes, I don't care, it makes for great TV. I'm also now starting to think that Seth Rollins is going to be responsible for whatever the outcome of the first Drew McIntyre versus CM Punk match is, and the way we just wove him back into this, I mean, it is very well done. Because don't forget, this was the original plan, so yeah, in terms of kicking off Raw and making you go plug me in, let's get it up. Turns out Adam Pearce didn't care about any of this though. We then cut to the back and he was talking to Dominik Mysterio. Apparently he had been ignoring the condom and his moustache all week, because as Dominik was saying here, why are you doing this to me? I do not want to team with Liv Morgan. Pearce then murked him and was like, well, you should have thought about that before you interfered in the last 3 women's title matches. Once again, this is the consequences for your actions. So this was like Sesame Street, we had a theme. Morgan must have been just off camera because she then skipped in and Mysterio was all like, why are you doing this to me? And I was like, I'll tell you why, because you both liars and I know you in cahoots. Liv's whole point though is that she wants to desperately make up for what she did do last week. And when they do win, Dom can be the daddy of the family. I was like, oh no. Apparently that was enough for Dominik to agree to this, although he does also want some chicken tenders. don't forget, when it comes to these chicken tenders, it's the best story in all of wrestling. When it was time for Chad Gable versus Jay Uso, why not? Now, I think Jay wanted to try and out-wrestle Chad here, which was the dumbest thing ever. Surprise, surprise, Gable went no, and he just worked him for a while. However, when Jay went for a dive, because he did get the upper hand, Gable grabbed him right again and threw him right on the floor with a suplex. And that looked absolutely horrible. He then started to use Alan the announce table and Rhea the ring post as he started to work over Uso's leg, and this made all the sense in the world. If your finisher is the ankle lock, you're not going to work on somebody's neck, you're going to work on their lower limb. Jay was able to boot Chad in the face, and because the crowd were going yeet, 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 he finally hit the dive. That was a nice little story. 5 minutes before this he wasn't able to, but he proved you can always overcome your badness. He still somehow wound up in the ankle lock, which made me chuckle when, of course, the lights started going funny and we got some Wyatt 6 spooky wookiness because for whatever reason they do not like Chad Gable, so as soon as he was going to win, let's strike. It only worked because Chad then had a mini meltdown, which allowed Jay to hit the spear and he got the 1, 2, 3, but man, bless this Uso. As soon as he did win, because all the crazies were still going on, he just ran away. This is when Nikki Cross did appear and she gave another one of these VHS tapes to Michael Cole and Pat McAfee. I just want to point this out. So many people are like, man, wrestlers look so stupid when they get scared by these people. If you were walking down the road at night and a bunch of individuals in masks approach you, would you just go, ah? No. If you did, you'd probably get stabbed in the face. Some people are also upset that Chad Gable is getting ruined in this way, but I actually think it's going to build to a match between them and the United Alpha Academy, and then somehow Chad is going to become the IC champion. Now, that kind of sounds out of nowhere, but I do believe, and I just think that once again, this is compelling stuff. Sheamus was then being interviewed next, and Jackie Redmond congratulated him for 15 years in WWE. I was like, how the flub is it 15 years? Somebody dig my grave. She wanted to know what was next for the guy, and of course it was going to be Ludwig Kaiser until Ludwig got injured. When actually, we got a brand new challenger because somebody pressed start on Controller 2, because here was Bronson Reed. Now, he was mad at Sheamus because he is talking about the past, but right now he should be talking about the present, and the present is me, Bronson Reed. That should be his new nickname, Bronson the Present Reed. Sounds like he's going to be a gift. Now, Sheamus was mostly annoyed that he did get interrupted, so said he was going to handle this like a proper fella. I don't know what that means, when Reed was like, haha, I can't fight you tonight, mate, because I've already got a match. Now, very interestingly, this was going to be Pete Dunne, and I think next week we are doing Bronson Reed versus Sheamus. So yeah, we'll get there in just a little bit. But I think we have a brand new story. Which is when Seth Rollins found Damian Priest in the backstage area, and I was expecting fireworks, and instead I got sprinklers. Now, Priest told the rest of the Judgment Day to go get ready for their big match, which was against the Awesome Truth and Braun Strowman. When Seth totally melted him, because he was like, hey, you know the phrase, it's better to be lucky than good. And this essentially describes you during our match of the weekend. Now, he also said that he was impressed with Damian Priest's skills and also that he did respect him because, hey, you did keep your promise and the rest of the Judgment Day did not get involved. He's going to have to do way more than this, though, if he is going to defeat Gunther at SummerSlam. Damo's like, man, I can handle that guy. When he said, listen, let's just take our gentleman's agreement, throw it away, and after I do beat Gunther at Hot WrestleMania, you and I can fight again. I was like, listen, I love wrestling very much. And it's not important. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. We even shook hands here, and you can't do this in wrestling. You can't move into a pay-per-view premium live event going, oh my gosh, the stipulation of all stipulations. Seth Rollins can never challenge this title again, have him dicked over by CM Punk, and then just go back on it. Also, it means Seth shouldn't be that mad at Punk anymore, because I get him still being a little bit peeved. He's not the champion, but hey-ho, now you can just do whatever you want. Once again, this does tie into consequences. You are just going to teach the fans that stipulations don't matter. We don't have to do that. So it's getting it down. It did end really well, though, because Damian Priest got a phone call, and it was heavily insinuated that maybe, just maybe, it was Rhea Ripley. We'll get there. When it was indeed Bronson Reed taking on Pete Dunne, we are going to have to keep our eye on this. Now, it made me laugh because Pete Dunne tried to out-wrestle this guy, so Bronson Reed just thumped him when, dun dun dun, we got to the commercial break. And as you know, you do not want to be on top when we're going into a wrestling commercial break. Because even though Peter was coming back with moonsaults after the ads, he was getting beaten up again. And this one is nice and easy. I bet Bronson went, hey, Pete, I know your real name is Butch. He's like, it's not Butch. And he was so upset, he got smacked in the eye. That'll do. Dunne did eventually work his way back into this too, and he was so good here because he was just all over Bronson Reed, and that is how you should keep a good guy down. As soon as he gets back up again, just murk it. He also just kicked Reed over and over again until he got absolutely destroyed with the bomb of power. Although look at this, he did snap the fingers and he went for some submissions, but the problem is Reed is just too big. So eventually he basically threw Dunne into the ropes when he hit the tsunami to get the 1, 2, 3. But just as he was about to go for it again, Sheamus did come down. He got rid of Bronson Reed when he turned around to hug his old buddy, his old pal, Pete Dunne. Pete was like, I ain't hugging you. You walked out on me a few weeks ago. I mean, he didn't say that, but that was the insinuation here. And he left. So surely this is going to tie into some kind of a story where either we do insert Pete Dunne into the Sheamus feud, or they do get back together. Either way, once again, I just appreciate all my nerd watching to be rewarded. This happened yonks ago, and yet people don't forget. Get it up. Sami Zayn then came out of this, and of course he got a wonderful pop. We are in Canada. He also admitted that he did beat Bron Breakker at the weekend too, and that he proved once again. Everybody was saying, oh, you're such an underdog. But he is not the underdog anymore. This is because he has become the Intercontinental Champion, and he has beaten everyone. I was like, damn it, Sami Zayn, say it from the rooftops, because it's true. Everybody forgot that this weekend. They were like, oh man, I can't believe Bron Breakker didn't win. Well, you know who never won in 2017, 18, 19, and 2020? It was Sami Zayn. So I am going to stand on this one and down this hill. He also wanted to point out that he does respect Bron Breakker, but very sadly, he found out the hard way, because that's right, he underestimated it. Now, as he had said Breakker's name about 479 times, as per Wrestling Rule 14.8, Bron Breakker did come out here, and at first his big plan was, I am just going to look at you. Because it was a big creepy, maybe it worked. Sam got a little bit perturbed by this too, because what are you doing, man? Do you want to fight? Do you want a rematch? When Breakker did take the microphone and went, yeah, maybe I did underestimate you, and you know what? I just wanted to look the person in the eye that finally beat me. We kind of acted here like Bron Breakker had never lost before, and I know he lost down on NXT. Who cares about that? Tell me a story. He then acted all magnanimous like there was no need for him to get a rematch when he took a step back, hit his go button, and he just speared Sami Zayn out of his shoe. And Pearce and the useless security then came out to stop this. This is even more wonderful, because as Bron was leaving, he did that thing you do as a kid. Went, hey Adam, look over there. And Pearce did, when Bron just ran away, and he killed Sam with that spear on the outside. I love me some Broneth Baker. Ilja Dragunov must have spied this too, because he came out and he got into Bron Breakker's face as well. When Adam Pearce after this was like, you know what? You two are going to have a match later. And I tell you, if this ends with Sami Zayn versus Bron Breakker versus Ilja Dragunov, I would just do the Dance of Joy forever. In fact, I'm going to start now. Let's get it up. When we had some party time after this, because it was indeed the Judgment Day taking on The Miz, R-Truth, and Braun Strowman, this was just fun. They made that clear very well too, because Finn Balor, Carlito, and Jade McDonough just dropped the awesome truth, meaning Braun Strowman hadn't come out yet, which meant you gave it a few seconds, then you just heard Raw, and here came the big man. Carlito also got killed here because he just threw him into barricade when R-Truth started to do his John Cena moves in the ring. And I tell you this, given that we are trying to figure out opponents for John Cena, I would do R-Truth versus Johnny Boy, but I would make it super duper serious, and I would give R-Truth one last big old run. I mean it. Certainly when he did hit the AA though, he was only able to get a 1-2 ooh, and then he started to get beaten up by the Judgment Day. But the whole time, The Miz had been running up his hand, and just when it was time, he got the slightly hot tag. Now this was going to end with a skull-crushing finale, but Carlito stopped that when he tagged in JD McDonough, who got in there, and he ripped The Miz t-shirt. I was like, what are you doing, Judd? He paid good money for that. Given the things were then calm, Finn Balor also got in there, but he made the stupid decision to taunt Braun Strowman. Listen, all wrestlers of 2024, are you not watching the show? You can't do a taunt, the babyface gets mad. No, I was wrong for a little while because the Judgment Day did just beat up The Miz, but once again, Braun eventually had just dunked his hand into some hot water when he got the super hot tag and he just killed everyone. And when he did his run around the ring thing, he did it with R-Truth. So they were essentially sprinting while going choo-choo. This is the best moment of my life. Also went to town on JD's ass, which sounds terrible as Finn Balor jumped to him, but he got caught in a big old choke slam when JD McDonough was being such a dickhead. Eventually Braun was like, right, I can't handle it. And he just chased him away, which means he left the match. It only left R-Truth isolated, which, by the way, would be good justification to turn heel, when Finn Balor zoomed in with a big drop kick and he got the coup de grace 1, 2, 3. I tell you, man, after losing a lot of matches, Finn is now on a streak. It also made all the sense in the world because the Judgment Day do need a load of wins at the moment because they're about to go through a big old shift to rule, so they have to feel dominating. I actually really enjoyed this. From nowhere there, my brain went, wait a minute, where the flub is Kiana James? She had that one match which she didn't win, and that storyline with Adam Pearce when they were going to do something didn't go anywhere. That's right, it's an out of nowhere down. But I can't help it if my brain does this. What am I going to do? Fight with it? That'd be stupid. No. It did get interesting though, because Adam Pearce was then here, and he was talking to CM Punk. Now Pearce was annoyed because Punk does keep doing all of this madness, but right now there is nothing we can do because CM, if you have forgotten, you ain't cleared to fight right now. He also blamed CM for everything that had happened at Money in the Bank because you went and wound Drew up, so here is what I'm going to propose. You don't come to the show next week. I will call McIntyre. If I can get him to Raw, I will try and get this done. If Punk decides to ignore this proviso though and turn up, he will be banned from ever facing Drew, and any world title aspirations will be taken away as well. So Punk was like, all right, fine, I am going to go home, I am going to get cleared, and then I'm going to smack that Scottish guy in his face. So I guess we're going to do this at SummerSlam, and I just can't wait, which is why I'm a big fan of them using the Money in the Bank briefcase to fuel this. They're going to have so much heat. We're all going to be set on fire. When we had a callback to something that Triple H and Trish Stratus had done years ago, because Dominik Mysterio was getting ready for his match with the help of Liv Morgan, who started stretching him in what can only be described as a, well, kinky position. Of course, as they started to do this, Damian Priest walked in, along with the Judgment Day, and Finn Balor and JD McDonough did this like they were cartoons. They popped their head out behind the wall. I just started clapping, give them as much money as they want. This is when Liv Morgan walked away and Damian Priest was just like, man, what are you doing? It's not hard to stay away from her. When yes, Carlito looked at Dominik's pants and he went, well, it looks hard to me. He made a dick erection joke. I'm just saying. So we took a huge step forward here for Damian Priest going babyface. Because at one point, Dom was even like, man, you're acting like my dad. And Priest was like, man, I'll break you in two like he does. And after he had left, he basically told us, Rhea Ripley is going to turn up, but I ain't telling Dom. And you want to know why? Because he has to deal with his consequences. There's that word again. The absolute shift we made after this made me laugh out loud too. Because we went from sexy Wexy to the latest White 6 video. Why not? It was once again Bo Dallas talking to Uncle Howdy, and I really do enjoy the way we're doing this. I still do kind of think it's tying into the 7 sins. They once again discussed the fact that the rest of the group had been discarded throughout their careers, and that there has been a glutton of punishment. Grief is also the price you pay for love, and now the captives don't need a master. I'll be honest with you, I have no idea what that means, but it sounds really cool, so it made me feel all fuzzy-wuzzy in my tum-tum. Dallas then asked Howdy if he thought they were sick, and Uncle Howdy did agree, which makes perfect sense. That's the name of the group. And I actually thought the best part is what came after this, because Chad Gable found Adam Pearce. He's like, what are you doing about this? They are quite clearly talking about me, and you don't seem to care. And Adam was like, that's not true. I've tripled security. But also, if you are the reason for it, maybe you need to go look in the mirror. Gable then said he was going to take matters into his own hands, and maybe he needs a vacation, and he walked off. And when Adam opened the door to his office, who was sat there? It was Bo Dallas. I tell you, I popped in my chair. So once again, I just thought this was really interesting because of the balance between the real and the spooky wookie. I just want to know what Bo Dallas is going to say all of the time. And what the hell did him and Adam Pearce chat about? So I think with this, as long as you're intrigued and you want to see where the story's going to go, they're doing something right. When Io Sky and Damage Control were mad. Seems to be a theme. Because they were cutting a promo here and basically said that they're out of control, so now they're just Damage, but they will win a match later, and then they'll be Damage Control again. I was like, cool man, you do you. When we got a spot of wonderfulness, because it was Bron Breakker versus Ilja Dragunov. This was the case even though you knew shenanigans were coming down the line, because no way either of these guys were going to lose on this Raw. But what I like about it the most is backstage they must go, you're going to kill me, right? And I'm going to kill you. The other guy goes, of course, how dare you even ask me? And they get a glove and slap him and they have a duel. What are we talking about? This was true as well because they just landed all these blows when Bron Breakker started to strangle Ilja Dragunov with his knee. I was like, well, when your hands aren't good enough. Breakker then got killed with his German suplex where he caught Ilja out of midair and gave him a press slam. I thought to myself, I could actually sit here and watch this for the rest of my life. I mean, it would probably be a waste, but I still think I'd get some enjoyment out of it. Ilja responded by kneeing Bron so hard, Breakker came back and busted his spine. When we got to the headbutts, we got to the punches, we got to the kicks, when they decided to go on top of Tina the turnbuckle, and that's always a bad idea. It's true because Ilja busted out a powerbomb and a senton for a 1-2. But all that did was piss Bron Breakker off. He did try to hit an H-bomb, but Breakker came back with a gutbuster. And because that only got a 1-2, he turned to the ref and he got so mad. I was like, what do you think that is going to achieve? Nothing. They then just threw themselves at each other like they wanted death, and they did spill to the outside. When Bron decided, haha, I'm going to go for my run around the ring spear. But given that he did miss, I think he just, I don't know, broke a fuse, because when Ilja came back to get him, Bron Breakker just picked up a chair and threw it right in his face. And of course the referee called for the DQ, but this was so cartoony, I laughed and I loved it. They got even better because Breakker quite literally stood on Dragunov's face, which of course brought Sami Zayn out. He must have got word, but he didn't help at all. So he got thrown into Rhea the ring post and thrown over at the announce table, where Bron Breakker just stood there like the most dastardly superhero of them all. He really did look like some kind of beast man here, so you can't tell me WWE aren't all into this guy. He was stood over two top-tier talents like they were nice. So once again, if all of this is headed towards the three-way, I am just going to be the happiest man in the world. It's also making the Intercontinental title feel like the best in prizes. It's getting it up. We then got a video from the Final Testament, and of course Karrion Kross was like, the New Day. You may have beaten me, Xavier Woods, which is interesting because Kofi Kingston couldn't, but I broke Kofi's arm, and now he's going to be out forever. Not forever, but for a long time. So we are still teasing that he is going to end the New Day, and I am now totally convinced, even though I'm totally wrong, I think Big E is going to come back to save the day. And if that does happen, man, I tell you for free, there is going to be water coming out of my seeing devices. Then had a big old video for Damian Priest calling out Gunther because they are going to clash at SummerSlam. And I thought this was really good because Damian was like, why don't you come to Raw next week and I'll show you why I'm the best. I was like, you tell him, Priest, you get it. When we did go right into Damage Control, taking on Kayden, Katana Chance, and Lyra Valkyria, this was just another fun 6-person tag. They all went at it when the bell rang because they do hate each other, when the good guys must have put their clapped-in planet rings together, because they did like a trio dropkick thingamajig. Thought it looked quite good. All this did, though, was tell Kairi Sane, Io Sky, and Dakota Kai they could do the same, so they came back with a triple move of their own. When Kairi was like, man, I'm ready to go, she started murking fools. She also hit a sliding elbow for a 1-2 when Sky got in there, just did the body slams. She does this a lot, and I really like it. Why overcomplicate the maneuvers when you can pick someone up and slam them right onto their back? Dakota Kai then got taken out with a code breaker as Lyra Valkyria was hitting everybody with power bombs, and when she went to go for the Nightwing, Damage Control consulted the manual. That's not going to be good for us, so they cut her off. It meant the three-way power was back because we got a triple suplex as Carter and Chance went for the keg stand. Well, they got it, but they only got a 1-2. Which is when we got pins all over the place when Katie and Kairi fell to the outside. And Dakota Kai loved that because she grabbed Carter and threw her into Rhea the ring post. I suppose that did serve as a distraction because Dakota then stomped on this person, tagged in Io Sky, who hit the moonsault, and she got the 1-2-3. I was like, well, thank goodness for that. They are Damage Control again. And the best part was right after this because Zoe Stark, Shayna Baszler, and Sonya Deville hit the ring. And they did promise us this. They said, listen, we'll sort out Money in the Bank. Then we're coming after those tag team titles. And obviously Sonya has got in their heads, they are now a proper team. They made sure to take everybody out as well. And this was such a good idea because if we are going to start heating up those women's tag team titles, we need a bunch of teams. And this is an extra team. Also, Sonya Deville is really good. She is super underrated. I'm giving it an up. Rey Mysterio and Zelina Vega were then excited about their match because they get to beat up Dommy Boy and Liv Morgan when we were with Sonya Deville, Shayna and Zoe. And yeah, they made it very clear, we are here to take over the division. Actually, I think they said run the division, which is very nice because it means they're going to take on some admin work when in walked Alba Fire and Isla Dawn. The fight is on. In the background too, we saw Chad Gable talking to the Creed, so we continued to tease that when we had Gunther's response to Damian Priest. I think this is when we all realized we're gonna have to make him the champ at SummerSlam. He's also just the master of making it sound like he is being respectful while also running people down. And he told us here, who is the greatest Intercontinental Champion ever? It's moi. This means that he shall soon be the World Heavyweight Champion too, because he's got some child running around wanting entertainment, and that's why the WWE needed him, because he brings the class back to this sport. Whereas everyone else is just being a massive goober. Gunther also told us he enjoyed making people miserable. So yeah, I think Damian Priest and he shall have a great match at Hot WrestleMania before the Ring General walks away with a title that he's probably not going to lose for a long ass time. So I am going to have to give this an up, especially when you bring the Damian Priest one back into it. Because so many people going, oh man, they can't make it feel like a SummerSlam main event. I disagree. I want to see it. up. When it was main event time next, and this was super duper fun. The two had consequences. As soon as the bell rang, Zelina Vega went after Liv Morgan because she had screwed her over last week. And there was some tags. Rey Mysterio went after Dominik Mysterio because he hates the fact this is what was created with his semen. I shouldn't have said it. They essentially played the same role as well, because as soon as Liv had run away, Dominik tried to run away as well. Although here at one point, Morgan pushed Dommy Boy out the way to take the bullet. Oh man, she's really into him. She was also able to recover and trip Rey Mysterio when he was going for the 619, which allowed Dommy to get back into this when she was in it too, and she hit the Three Amigos. I was like, man, it's Eddie Guerrero tribute night. That was especially true because at one point Dom was trying to rip off Rey's mask, and if you know, you know. Although it was not going well for Mr. Chicken Tenders, because he and his moustache then got hit with two 619s, because Rey and Zelina started to cook. Liv saw this as a massive opportunity though, so she grabbed Vega and threw her into Rhea the ring post, and somebody check on Rhea after this evening. When she got a chair, she threw that into the ring as well. That distracted the ref, and because the Mysterios were on the top rope, Morgan just got in there, she wiggled the damn thing, meaning Rey's penis went right into the thing. I suppose that was another theme of this evening. There was a lot of stuff with dicks. Amazingly too, it allowed Dominik to hit the splash of the frogs and get the 1, 2, 3 and make sure this goes through your brain. Not only has he finally defeated his father, but he did so with the help of Liv Morgan. He was just so over the moon, he turned to her and he was like, oh, thank you so much. He also basically hugged her, which was the worst idea in the world, because she pulled him to the floor. I'm just gonna be honest with you. For a very awkward amount of time, they were just rolling around. I was like, you do know there's a lot of people watching you, right? Maybe that's what you're into. Of course, we were just building anticipation because somebody was about to make their mega return, and it was Rhea Ripley, and I tell you, this place went nuts. It also made me laugh because I am an idiot, because it was like Rhea was backstage going, well, I'm not gonna go out there unless they do anything promiscuous, which they did do. Out she came, and Liv Morgan just legged it. She looked absolutely terrified. She is playing this role so well. Dom also tried to apologize to Rhea, but she just mugged him off and walked to the back. And look, here is the deal. I've said it once, I'll say it twice. I just can't wait to see where this story goes. And having Rhea Ripley back on Raw is no bad thing. You could feel it straight away. I mean, she was already a star, but she about to explode through the roof. I also want to give a shout out to Dom and his moustache too, because man, the role they have done. This is one of the best narratives on wrestling TV right now. And it is getting it up. Which brought us to the end of Raw, and look, there were loads of segments here. Even for a 3-hour show, I was like, oh my gosh. But given we only have 4 weeks to SummerSlam, well, I actually thought WWE did a pretty damn good job. Up. Now, of course, make sure you drop me a comment below and let me know what you thought about last night's episode of Raw. Like the video, share the video, and subscribe. If you want my thoughts on Money in the Bank, you can click the video on the screen somewhere, and I shall give you those. Otherwise, my friends, it is a brand new week. Make sure you have a whale of a time. I'll see you soon.